Thank you again for being here. Only yesterday we had the first edition of the Federal Executive Council meeting, after which we briefed you. Today, because of the number of memos that the Federal Executive Council had to consider, the President again scheduled another council meeting. Let me begin from my immediate right, the Honorable Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Patil.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Information. Mine is brief. Yesterday, Council approved major investments that have to do with the basic primary health care, the front end for Nigerians. Today, it considered two decisions related to the health sector. One is far-reaching and has continental implications. Nigeria, based on the approval of the Federal Executive Council today, will be ratifying the Africa Medicines Agency Treaty. That is a treaty which was initially brought into life by the Africa Union heads of states and governments at their 32nd meeting in Addis Ababa in February 2019. So far, 37 member states in the Africa Union have already signed to the treaty and 26 have ratified it. And the Federal Executive Council today directed that the treaty be ratified by Nigeria and directed us to take all actions to give effect to the treaty. What does the treaty intend to do? Is to enhance the capacity of all state parties that have ratified it, to improve their regulatory capacities regarding medical products, to increase access to safe, quality-assured, efficacious medical products, and use common standards across the continent towards a Pan-African regulatory framework for medicines, medical products, and pharmaceuticals. And the import of this is, as we move in this direction, what we produce as part of our value chain expansion will have a much wider market. So we're expanding the market for potentially products that can be manufactured here. Just as other African countries, what they manufacture, we can also trade with them. As you know, we have a large population. We're working hard to industrialize medically and will produce. But what we produce will have access to these common standards, essentially making what is made in Nigeria potentially, over time, made in Africa. So it's an important statement of our direction towards self-sufficiency in medical products over time. And this treaty is a major milestone. And I think we appreciate Mr. President's leadership in allowing us to ratify this important treaty on the continent. The second element is expanding the infrastructure in our tertiary facilities. So today, the Federal Executive Council approved 6 contracts for major diagnostic equipment, 3 MRI equipment, and 2 CT scan equipment. In the Federal University of Uyo Teaching Hospital in Akwa Ibom, the Federal Medical Center in Abeokuta, the Obafemi Awolowo University in Ile-Ife, the Federal Medical Center in Kefi in Nasarawa State, the Modibo Adama University Teaching Hospital in Nyola, Adamawa State, and the Federal Teaching Hospital in Kebbi State, alongside other equipment and infrastructural development in those teaching hospitals. You can see that gradually, piece by piece, we're rebuilding our health infrastructure, both in the front end, but also at the higher level in the teaching hospitals. And we know that important things are happening. People are now beginning from the region to come to Nigeria and receive quality health care. This is already happening, including people from faraway places like the United Kingdom and United States. So despite what we may want to believe about Nigeria's healthcare system, there are good things happening. The transformation that the President promised is beginning to happen. We need to sustain it, and we're investing and will continue to invest in that direction. Those are the two elements that I would like to bring to your attention. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Let me bring in the Honorable Minister of Works, who has also promised to make his own very direct and short.
In line with the policy of the Renewed Hope administration to review, rescope, and prioritize, all the ongoing inherited projects. FEC approved in this direction about 14 projects, and I will mention the projects very briefly, because yesterday you people were calling and asking details. So the first one is a rescoping of Agia Kachia Road in Niger State, Agia, and the contractor name is Agaye Kacha Baro Road. Is it correct? And the amount is for 22 billion, and the contractor is Mrs. GRU Building Construction Limited. And then you have the second one, is Uduokpani, rehabilitation of Uduokpani Junction, Akpeti, Central Section of Calabar, Ekom Ogoja Road. And the amount is 26.35 billion, and the contract Samatec. Then the third one is, the contract Abiokite Ajebo Road, Sport to Iyana, Mosa Road in Ogun State. Contractor is Mrs. HMF Construction Limited, and the amount is 10.89 billion. The next one is the Inoma Iheaka Abaji section of Ibaji Odulu Ajegu Road in Anambra State. The contractor name is Niger Cat, and the amount is 9.33 billion. The next one is the construction at Umuahia Ikuano Ikote Bene Road, Umuahia Umudike. The name of the contractor is Mrs. Heartland Raycon. Heartland Raycon Construction Company. The amount is 14.37 billion. The next one is the Kaduna Jos Road in Kaduna State and Plateau State, Phase 1. The contractor is Cetraco, and the amount is 33.423 billion. The next one is the Yola Fufure Gurin Road in Adamawa State, and the amount is 11.81 billion, and the contractor is Wiz China Worldwide Engineering Limited. The next one is the Ijebu Iboti Ta Egbe in Ogun State, and it has, that state border route is Aretech Construction Limited and 13 billion. The next one is the contractor Mrs. Mode Limited, amount 7.68 billion, and it is for Lamido Road in Taraba State. The next one is the Nkomoro Isu Road in Enugu State and Ebonyi State. It's Arab contractors, and amount is 14.49 billion. The next one is the Ekote Bene Border Aba Owerri Road dualization. Is Arab contractors, and the amount is 11.55 billion. The next one is the Mrs. Rick Rock, 9.68 billion, and the project is Gashi Bayamari, Section 2 in Yobe State. The next one is the project in Ikorodu Shagamu Road in Lagos, and this is the phase 1 of the Lagos Ibadan Road, and it is no, this is different. This is Arab contractors, and it is Ikorodu Shagamu Road, and the amount is 27.59 billion by Arab contractors. And the second to the last is Mrs. Reynolds. Yeah, this is the Lagos, Ibadan Road, the phase 1. There were 2 phases. The first section is being completed by Julius Berger, and the second section is being done by RCC. But RCC is yet to finish the Ibadan bound. The contract value of what is left is about 4 billion, and then the Lagos bound is about 8.55 kilometer. And this is what we rescoped. That amount is 22. So you technically have about 30 billion, even though the total value of the project is 213 billion. But don't forget that what is needed to complete that road is 30 billion. And that's Arab contractors. And we are poised to take over some of the route if any of them will not be completed by the month of April, because we need to commission that project. And the last is the carriageway Arcade bypass. It is a major, construction, but we needed to rescope it by Gito Construction Limited, and the amount is 7 billion. The fake step down, one memo, and that is the building of the FEMA headquarters. Fake wondered why, says the establishment of FEMA. FEMA never had, headquarters, but we've been asked to research and recheck and then resubmit. Thank you.
Implementer. It is for student accommodation, mainly student tertiary accommodation at project sites throughout the country to provide sustainable and clean energy-based accommodation for students. We all know what an important intervention that is for the educational sector and for students, given the shortage. And secondly, and equally important and equally addressing the issue of social interventions is one regarding pensions. There was an approval for the government through the Debt Management Office to raise a federal government bond of about 758 billion naira. And that is to clear up the backlog of pension liabilities owed various categories of pensioners who are owed funds under the defined benefit system that preceded the defined contributory pension scheme that came into force in 2004 and of course was updated with a new act in 2014. There were some accrued liabilities which were building up over time. So for example, someone who was on a defined benefit scheme yet to retire would need a top-up of their contributions or the amount due to them every time that there was a wage increase, every 5 years or so. So these liabilities are built up to a point where it was not going to be easy to pay them down on an ongoing basis. And so to clean up that important area and to give people their right, which is payment of their pension liabilities as and when due, the government has put in place an approval for Debt Management Office to raise 758 billion naira that will pay down all these liabilities and of course be a tremendous relief to the beneficiaries. More on the economic growth and economic resilience side, an approval has been given for the all-important National Single Window Project. So the technology providers, the hardware suppliers have been approved for implementation of the project. It will take between 12 and some aspects will take 12 months for delivery of the hardware, and for complete implementation, including the software solutions and the technology solutions and the e-government solutions, that will take up to 24 months. And this project not only speaks to improving the economic competitiveness, the international ability to export efficiently and of the Nigerian economy, but it also speaks to increasing government revenue. So it's both on the fiscal side, it is both revenue earning in terms of foreign exchange and in terms of government revenue, and as well it speaks to the increased productivity of the Nigerian economy as I said before, increased international competitiveness at a time where under the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, Nigeria is pushing to be a big player both in the ECOWAS region and in the African continent as well. And why that is particularly important, we are all seeing that the world is moving away from open trade, from the rules-based World Trade Organization led world trading environment. Is moving to a more closed environment, and so the regional and the continental markets will be much more important for Nigeria. Finally, we also commented that given the plethora, the large amounts of approvals which were given today, that there was the assurance also given that the economic management team is going to harmonize, synthesize, synchronize, and very much prioritize in an orderly fashion these different approvals in line with Mr. President's priorities. First of all, to attract investment that will grow the economy and create jobs and reduce poverty, but more importantly, to also focus on his immediate priorities for, after stabilizing, for now implementing what will strengthen the Nigerian economy and grow it and create jobs in the near term, such as strengthening food security, enhancing the fiscal condition, including, as we have seen, the revenue benefits that can come from the National Single Window Project, increased energy security, strengthened social protection, improved economic competitiveness, as I said earlier, and finally, timely implementation of the new National Development Plan so that we all have a framework in which to implement the various programs and policies of the government, and also to be able to show to all stakeholders the direction in which the government is going. And as we clearly know, the benefits of the reforms are beginning to come through. There is greater fiscal strength. There is greater competitiveness of the Nigerian economy. Thank you.
My colleagues, the press. In today's Federal Executive Council meeting, I gave a report on the Interministerial Committee that was set on the 23rd of September 2024 for the evaluation of dams in Nigeria. As we are all aware, the committee was constituted as Ministers of Finance, Environment, Works, Information, and the National Security Advisor, and my humble self as the chairman of that committee. So that committee was inaugurated on the 2nd of October 2024. The mandate of that committee was to assess all dams in the country and come up with recommendations of how best the dams can be put to use in areas of water supply, flood control, irrigation, and fish farming, among others. The committee constituted a subcommittee which co-opted members of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, the Council for Regulation of Engineers in Nigeria, and that of Council of dams experts in Nigeria. So the committee swam into action and brought out recommendations of about 35 dams that have assessed so far. So today, the interim report was presented to Federal Executive Council, where the Alao Dam, which is very critical, which has some challenges as a result of flooding that occurs on the 10th of September last year. So the designs, analysis and everything of that particular dam, of Alao Dam, was done and presented to the subcommittee. And that request was made before Mr. President. And Mr. President graciously gave an approval of 80 billion for the reconstruction and expansion of Alao Dam in Maiduguri, Borno State. The committee work is ongoing, and subsequently reports of the remaining 34 and other dams that are ongoing, that the assessment is ongoing, will be presented to the Federal Executive Council and the entire Nigerians. So as it stands now, the approval for the construction of and rehabilitation of Alao Dam has been done by Mr. President, which is awaiting the ratification of the Federal Executive Council when all other due process are being observed to Infreds International Limited at the tune of 80 billion. The Borno State government is working with the subcommittee and members of the Nigerian Security Advisory Office that are working together to kickstart that project. And we are believing that between now and July this year, the first component of that work will be established so that this year there will be no flooding in Maiduguri again. Then the other component will commence as, that is the desilting of that dam, will commence by December this year. The project is supposed to expand for a period of 24 months. So that was the briefing that was submitted before the Federal Executive Council. Thank you.
In the Federal Executive Council, Federal Capital Territory Administration presented 6 memos, and they are mainly on infrastructure development and adequate water supply to the people of FCT and the environment. The first memo was approval for the award of contract for the construction of access road to the FCT fire service station and also erosion control in Kaura district. And the contractor is Mr. Influence International Limited, and the sum of the contract is 13.182 billion with completion period of 14 months. The second one is a revised estimated total cost 2 of contract for the provision of engineering infrastructure to Guzapet district, lot 1. And the revised cost was 48,607,478,677 naira 39 kobo. The previous sum of the contract was 22.2 billion. So the new contract sum is now 70,890,464,925 naira 31 kobo, and with additional completion period of 18 months. The third memo was also on approval for the contract of provision of access road bypassing airport second runway from Bill Clinton Drive to Tungam Madaki settlement with a 4-span bridge and is about 7 kilometers. The contractor is Mr. CCECC, and the contract sum is 27.6 billion with completion period of 12 months. The fourth one is approval for the award of contract for the rehabilitation and resurfacing of existing roads at Yakubu Gowon Crescent, Thomas Sankara Road, JF Kennedy Street, Ibrahim Taiwo Street, Muhammadu Ribado Street, and Shehu Shagarui from the N13 OX junction to Maitama roundabout. And the contractor is Mr. Julius Berger, and the total sum of the contract is 20.4 billion with completion period of 8 months. And lastly, is the provision of award of approval for the award of contract for the provision of engineering infrastructure to the outstanding layouts within Guzapi Lot 1 and 2. The first one was on Lot 1, and this one is the finishing of Lot 1 and also Lot 2 project areas and its neighborhood. And the contractor is still Mr. Dantata and Sao Construction Company. The total sum of the contract is 54 billion 376 million 46,514 naira 34 kobo with completion period of 18 months. Lastly, this is the fifth one. Lastly is the approval for the award of contract for the rehabilitation of phase 1, 3, and 4 Lower Osuma Dam water treatment plants. And it was awarded to Mr. SCC Nigeria Limited in the sum of 17.2 billion and 79,000 US dollars with a completion period of 12 months. These are the memos that were presented and also approved. Thank you very much. 24 months, yeah. For the Osuma Dam is 24 months, the period of completion. Thank you.
So today at FEC, we got approval for the, We had approval for the establishment of the Creative Leap Acceleration Program, otherwise known as CLAP, under the private part PPP framework. So what CLAP is for us in the ministry is really a one-stop shop for creatives. We have understood that there are a number of creative people all around the country that do not have the access and the resources to be able to do just the basic things that they need to do. So what CLAP is a digital platform that gives access to creatives no matter where they are, in a rural setting, in the urban setting. With this CLAP network, they'll be able to get training, capacity building, funding, just the general network that is needed for them to be able to accelerate their growth. So this capacity is a capacity and developmental initiative, and it seeks to ensure that creators all over Nigeria are able to be trained and they have the tools and the resources that is required for them to be able to get the best out of their craft. And you know, on this platform, we are making sure that we take care of all the 49 different subsectors. So no matter what side or spectrum of the creative industry that you're part of, CLAP is your home, because it is through CLAP that we are going to make sure that we get you the network that will get you the funding, the training, the capacity building, and just the general access that is needed for you to become the next David Doe, the next Burna Boy, the next big actress in Nollywood or Kannywood. So CLAP is a great initiative, and I really look forward to ensuring that we get as many people enrolled on the CLAP network, because that's the way that we can really reach out to as many creatives all over the country. And also at the Executive Council, we got approved Destination 2030 Nigeria Everywhere, which is a global soft power and tourism brand that we want to take on the road for Nigeria. So Destination 2030 is very, very germane and very key, because one of the things that we want to do in the ministry is to see how we can use the cultural and the creative industry, just the content that we have as a people, the content that everybody in the world seems to be interested in, to reshape and reposition Nigeria in the eyes of the world. So this brand, the cultural and tourism brand, the main objective is trying to transform Nigeria's artistic, cultural, creative, and tourism assets into huge economic drivers, and also to use it as a national soft power tool. You know, one of the things that you find no matter where you go in the world, people look at you as a Nigerian not because we have oil or anything else, people are interested in our content, whether it's in our Benin Bronzes or in our Afro beats or in the Nollywood. That is where the interest is in Nigeria. So we want to really use that to really change the narrative about Nigeria. Soon, Nigeria will be everywhere. Under this Destination 2030 brand, we've already started a 7-part series. It's a 7-part series. It's called Nigeria Everywhere Shorts. We started with the first. The first is called I Am Nigerian. I wrote and performed that. We have 7 different parts. The second is Letter to My Younger Self, which is a letter Nigeria at the age of 65 is writing to Nigeria one day before independence, telling Nigeria of all the pitfalls that are going to become, so that it's something that we can have self-reflection as a nation as to where we went right or wrong. Then we have Forefathers and the Future, talking about our wishes that the forefathers had for Nigeria. Then we have Nigeria We Hail Thee. This is an ode to the flag and to the anthem, so that as people we can rediscover what this national anthem, Nigeria We Hail Thee, really means to us. Then we also have Be the Change You Want to Be in the World, so that each and every one of us as a Nigerian, rather than complaining about the country not becoming the way they feel it should be, you should take ownership of the fact that you are a Nigerian and to see what you can do as a Nigerian to play your part in making Nigeria the great country that we all know it can be. Then we have presidents of Nigeria, talking about all the different presidents that have made up Nigeria. And the last, we have a pledge to Nigeria. So in the next, we've shot the first 2 series, and in the next couple of months, we will enroll them. We already want to take it global. You'll see it on CNN, you'll see it on BBC, everywhere, because we want to be proud as Nigerians. And this tool of Nigeria Destination 2030, Nigeria Everywhere, is going to help us to see how we can reposition Nigeria globally and to rediscover who we are as a people. Thank you.
The job is actually done for today. Remember, there were about 67 memos considered by the Federal Executive Council today. Each one of them was being thoroughly examined and approved. Some, of course, were a step down, as you had earlier. Now, if you aggregate all this together, and this by way of recap, you're saying that a lot of projects between yesterday and today, approvals given, for example, to the Ministry of the FCT, to the Ministry of Works, to Health, a lot of construction jobs being approved by the Federal Executive Council. Now, this is not just an attempt to create the enabling infrastructure that we need for development of the country, but also reflect the economy by ensuring that, because the quickest way of having, especially people who are daily income earners, get something to do is by participating in some of these construction jobs. It's the quickest way of ensuring that the entire country is being rejuvenated again, and then the economy is being put back to life. Of course, this is in addition to so many other measures that government is also doing. I need to say this so that you can also help us to ventilate this, so that Nigerians will know that government is listening, and the presidency of and the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is listening to the public and ensuring that the economy comes back to life once again. And the reforms are working, as you have seen from the briefing from the Honorable Minister of Economy, Finance, and Coordinating Minister for the Economy. And then what you also heard from the Minister of Works, Minister of Health, and the other ministers here. The economy is actually beginning to turn the corner. And this year, 2025, is a year of consolidation of all the reforms that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has and his administration has embarked upon. And we believe that by the end of the year, the economy will be a lot better. Keep your hope alive. The Renewed Hope agenda is on track. Of course, government recognizes some of the challenges that are there, as is associated with every reform all over the world. This is not an exception, but please keep faith. Government will surely turn the corner. Thank you very much.